right, looks like we are going live, huh? Let me share this with a couple of folks. Hope you guys are having a great day. Give it a little bit of time for some of y'all to get on, but we're having a great day over here, busy. A lot of good stuff are happening, and we're going to crush it. All right, let's see here. We are live. Good. I'm going to be talking about the state of the industry and what I believe the next boom is going to be. I believe the industry is certainly going through a lot of changes. It's gone through a lot of changes. There's a lot of evidence of that. And we are going to crush it. So let's see here. Let me make sure I'm going live here. All right, here we go. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Zoom. Well, not the Zoom. I'm so used to saying Zoom, right? We all are so used to saying Zoom because we use Zoom all the time. So, but nevertheless, you guys know what I'm talking about. Listen, I want to get into some details that in my opinion, especially if you are like me, if you are a network marketing enthusiast, a network marketing historian, a network marketing fan, you're going to love this information. So just put this one link here and we are live. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Gabby? Hope you're doing well. Eric and Neil, how are you? Thank you guys for coming on and supporting. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat or a yes in the chat if you guys can hear my audio good. Please let me know that my audio is coming across good. That'd be very helpful, and I appreciate it very much. What's up, Gabby? All righty. You guys can hear. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Gabby. Appreciate it. Jabari, what's up, my brother? By the way, I'm a network marketer through and through. Can anybody guess? And if you're watching the replay, type replay. But can anybody guess what company this is? It's a healthy energy drink. Can anybody guess a company? Even those of you that are watching the recording, because most of you are not going to catch this live, but most of you are going to watch the recording, right? But Jabari, what's up, brother? But can any of you guys guess what company this energy drink is from? That'd be great. Let's see how many network marketing studs we have here. Alberto, I appreciate that, Alberto. Send me a private message, brother. Let's talk. My company is international, by the way. So I build the business international. So let's get have a conversation. So anyways, it's not Verve, Lewis. It's not Verve. Verve is my #1 choice for energy drinks. I love it. Tim Neal, ding, ding, ding. That's right, Tim. Amway. So this is Amway. What's funny is, and I'm killing a little bit of time. I'm going to start in 2 minutes. I'm killing a little bit of time because I want to make sure that we get more people on. And I see a lot of you guys are getting started on. And I'm going to share with you guys some powerful information. But anyways, I'm going to tell you this quick story. I was playing pickleball. I picked up pickleball a little bit over a year ago, and it's an amazing game, but it's great networking too, by the way. For all of you network marketers or any of you that have an interest in networking, pickleball is pretty awesome for that. But I met a guy there, and we started talking about what we did. He asked me what I did, and I said, oh, I'm in the network marketing space, brother. And he says, oh, me too. I'm in the network marketing space too. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool, man. What company are you with? And he says, I'm actually with Amway. I said, oh, man, that's one of the godfathers of the industry. Amway is awesome, man. That's cool. How long have you been with them? So long story short, the guy's doing pretty good with Amway. And I became his customer. I said, hey, man, I saw him drinking that energy drink. And I said, hey, do you have a link? He goes, yeah, I got a link. I said, send me your link. I'm going to buy some of those energy drinks from you. And so I ended up buying a couple of cases from him already and some toothpaste. They got some good products. You know, I'm appreciative of that company. That they're certainly one of the ones that kind of set the tone for our industry. So anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about the state of the industry, right? This is an amazing industry. To give you a little bit of background, I got involved in 2001 in this amazing industry. And so 24 years, I'm dating myself now. So I was, 6 years old when I started in this industry. So I was 18 years old when I started in the industry, and it's been 24 years now. So my first 7 years in the company, and I didn't mean to say 6, 7 like the kids are saying these days, but the first 6, 7, maybe even 8 years in the industry, I didn't do too good. But then I eventually figured it out. And once I started doing good, I went to 6 figures fast. Once I started making some decent money, I just kind of took off to 6 figures when it clicked for me, right? I love a saying in this industry, if you stick and stay, you'll get your pay. I totally believe that is true. And that's certainly what happened to me. But it wasn't easy, but it certainly was worth it, right? So let's talk about the state of the industry, because there's been a lot of changes, and I want to give you my 2 cents, right? This is from somebody, once again, with 24 years of experience. I've been the #1 earner in multiple companies. I've been the master distributor of 2 companies, and I've done really well in the industry. Biggest team I've ever built is 120,000 people. I've mentored people to make, over $100,000 a year, and even millions of dollars per year in multiple different industries. And so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about when it comes to network marketing. I've been doing network marketing all of my adult life. So, it's a lot of experience, and now I own a network marketing company. And so, but our company was very interesting because we started as a direct sales company 2 years ago. And we've now transitioned to become an international network marketing company. And there's really 2 services that you can go international with, but I'm not going to get into that just yet. But here's the conversation that I want to have. Think about this. Imagine if you were able to time Bitcoin early on, 2010. I timed it in 2013. Now, I wish I knew it was going to boom as big as it did. I would have held more of it. But nevertheless, I held a lot of crypto, and I still hold a lot of crypto, and I'm always going to hold crypto. But here's the deal. What happened is this. When it comes to the industry of network marketing, there are booms, explosions that are crucial to success. And in this industry, there's always going to be booms. Companies that boom, companies that explode, companies that everybody hears about, right? And most companies will never experience that. And I've had the good fortune of catching 2 booms and this time a 3rd boom. And I'm going to prove it to you, okay? And there's a saying in network marketing that the T in timing is far more important than the T in talent. The T in timing is much more important than the T in talent. I don't care how talented you are. If you're with the wrong company at the wrong time with the wrong product or service, wrong comp plan, whatever, right? I don't care how talented you are. You're going to be very limited to how successful you could be. Now, on the contrary, you take somebody that maybe doesn't have the skills, doesn't have the talent, but they've got the work ethic and the right timing, the right company, the right leadership, comp plan, these couple things, that person can achieve significantly more success than the person with 10 times more talent, right? And I truly believe that. So for example, I'm going to start off by giving you a history lesson of this industry, network marketing, and the booms that this industry has gone through. I'm going to give you timelines, and I'm going to also give you the companies that it went through. So I'll start back from Excel Communications, right? Some of you guys may be familiar with Excel Communications. Some of you guys may not, but here's a couple things about Excel Communications. And if somebody could put the numbers for Excel Communications on the chat, that would be great. Excel Communications was around and booming in the 90s till the early 2000s, okay? They were selling long distance. Back in the days, you didn't get to call long distance for free like we do now. You had to pay for long distance, right? It's like local calling, you pay for long distance. So that's one of the things that they sold. But anyways, they had like a $400 or a $500 pack. They had a coded bonus, and Paul Orbison hit $1 million per month with Excel Communications, okay? And they helped a lot of people become millionaires. They helped a lot of people become millionaires in the industry. That company boomed in the 90s, okay? Even up to the early 2000s. Then they had some issues and then it went away, right? Then here's what happened in the early 2000s. The juice companies boomed, right? Now, mind you, these companies, these products, these services, they'll boom. But again, just like real estate doesn't always boom. Real estate boomed from 2004 to 2007, right? But the booms come and go. There's booms that come and go in the network marketing industry as well. By the way, if you are liking this information, share this video with a couple of folks. Because if nothing else, this is going to be a great history lesson, a great training session for you. Because when it comes to business, I learned very early on from some great mentors that you don't just do business blindly. You got to study trends, like follow the ball, follow the money. Imagine there's a water hose and there's a basketball going through the water hose, and that's where the money is, because that's where the momentum is. That's what people want. That's where the demand is, and you've got the supply. But most people, the ball is already going. Their company was a momentum a long time ago, or their industry might be a momentum a long time ago, and they're still trying to fight to build the momentum that they once had, but they don't realize that timing comes and goes, right? And so, and by the way, that's not to say that if you've been with a company that boomed back then, that you shouldn't be with that company. That's not what I'm saying, right? But I think it's also important to manage expectations and even manage your own expectations, and that'll prevent you from quitting prematurely. I think most people that quit the industry of network marketing, couple things. Number one, quit prematurely. Number two, didn't really follow the system, weren't really consistent, weren't really serious about their business, right? So yes, Amanda says follow the money. Follow the money. So check this out. Excel Communications. Then in 2000, like 1999 or 2000, Noni, remember the juice, the bottle, Noni juice came out, and Noni juice created a boom. And then it was followed by Zango, and Monavie really took it to the next level. But why did the juice booms come out? Okay, now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, bear with me. I'm going to mention some recent companies, but I'm giving you the history from the 90s till 2025. So the juice boom came out, right? And when the juice boom came out, here's why they boomed. Number one, it was something new and exciting. Number two, their pitch was this. What's up, Brandon? Their pitch was this. Listen, you guys are taking all those vitamins that you're swallowing, and then they would show pictures of people getting surgeries, and they would open their stomach, and there was a lot of the vitamins that they swallowed that were whole in their gut, in their stomach, right? And so they said, these pills are X% absorbent. The juice that we sell you is 95% absorbent. You absorb it a lot more. It is easier to take. And guess what? It tastes good, and it's got all the vitamins. It's got these vitamins, these antioxidants. Antioxidants are what they pitch, right? This one has so much antioxidants. This one has so much antioxidants. But antioxidants and vitamins, and I know because I was with Vima, and that was a good company. They had a good run. I joined them because they had a healthy energy drink. This is 2006 approximately. And I remember that their Vima formulation had all the vitamins and minerals that you needed. Okay, the only thing that you needed was omega-3. That's the only thing it didn't have, right? But anyways, that's when the juice companies came out and boom, because they got people back then. The vitamin MLM companies, network marketing companies, those vitamin network marketing companies were in. So when the juice companies came out, people said, wow, this is easier. Instead of taking all these capsules, I could take a shot, one shot, boom, a day. So that boom, it was new and exciting, right? So Noni took off, but then Monavie came out with a binary. Mind you, this is the early 2000s. The binary was relatively new. So the binary was revolutionary, it still is today. They didn't even have a check match bonus, which, by the way, side note, if you have a binary no check match bonus in 2025, I don't know, call me. I'm a consultant for network marketing companies. I'll help you out, man. Okay. So, but anyways, that sounds a little bit weird because I own a company, right? But I'm making a point here. So Monavie came out and it boomed. Couple reasons. Number one is they had a great, at the time, juices were booming. They had a nice looking chic bottle. It was sexy, right? The M was a nice, sexy logo. You guys remember the Monavie bottle? It looked like a expensive wine, but this was healthy, right? And people were having like these parties and stuff and pouring this bottle, and they had a better comp plan. They had great leadership, and they had a unique comp plan that at the time was new. So my point is, a lot of things came together: the right leadership, the right marketing, the right compensation plan, most importantly, the right timing. And they were promoting something that was new and exciting that the industry hadn't really seen yet. Monavie absolutely exploded. Monavie did amazing, right? And they had a run from the, early 2000s till about 2000, 11, 12, 13, okay? They had their run. Then eventually they sold to Jeunesse, right? Jeunesse had a good run international, right? But in America, people didn't know about it. But Jeunesse was one of those that had a good run. So that was the juice boom. What came after the juice boom? I'm going to tell you what came after the juice boom. So I was involved in the juice boom, but I didn't really make a lot of money. I wasn't the leader yet. It wasn't my time yet. But the next boom was the right boom. The next boom was a healthy coffee boom. The healthy coffee boom was the boom. You guys remember OrganoGold back in the days? They're still around. Hey, good for them. They got good products. I got nothing but positive things to say about them. But back in the days when they had Jose Ardone, David Menetier, Holton Buds, right? Samuel Bean, which by the way, Samuel Bean works with us now, right? They had a bunch of studs. The interesting thing, Jay Nolan, right? Jay Nolan, Bernie Chua, and Shane Moran started OrganoGold. The interesting thing is this. With the exception of, for example, Holton, these other guys like David and Menetier, friend of mine, super sharp guy, Jose Ardone, friend of mine, really sharp guy, and, Samuel Bean and some of these other guys, they had never made the millions yet. Most of them had never even made, some of them maybe barely hit 100,000, but most of them didn't even make $100,000 a year. I think Jose was with Melaleuca right before OrganoGold. My point is this. They took a bunch of B players. There's A players, B players, and C players in the industry. C players are the ones that they're not making any money. They're trying to figure it out. The industry is comprised of mainly C players. The majority of people, just like in any entrepreneur venture, most real estate agents are C player real estate agents, right? Then you got the B players. The B players are the ones that are making a couple grand a month, maybe just enough to pay the bills or most of the bills, right? 3 grand, 4 grand, 5 grand, 6 grand a month, right? That's the B players. The A players are the 6-figure earners and above. The guys that have been on stage, that have the big teams, that have experienced what you consider success. Those were the A players, right? So OrganoGold blew up with mainly B players. The guys that I'm talking about, mainly B players, guys. They were mainly B players. But why did they become A players? Because of the T in timing is more important than the T in talent. They were at the right industry. They didn't even know it. Most of them didn't even know it. Here's the thing. When you are involved in the right industry at the right time, whether you know it or not, all ships rise with the tide. They did it. Most people did not know. I got into the industry because I saw a Jose Ardone video. Jose Ardone was talking about the booms. And he mentioned the next boom is coffee. Why is the next boom coffee? And he was totally right. And history will always remain what it is. Why was the coffee boom so exciting? Because remember, we went from the long distance boom to the juice boom to now the coffee boom, because the coffee boom was like this. Hey, you're used to buying that expensive bottle of juice. I was with Vima, right? I understood. That's expensive and it's a new expense. Coffee is an existing expense. It's an addiction that 7 out of 10 people have. This one's healthy. It tastes just as good and it pays you. You don't have to learn to sell coffee. Coffee sells itself. That was a boom. So coffee with Ganoderma, that's when I made my first million. That's when I started blowing up. My first full year, I made $327,000. Mind you, before that, I hadn't even made 6 figures, right? My position made 6 figures, but I had a partner. So we made like 50 grand each. When I got started with the coffee boom, I blew up like crazy, right? I blew up like crazy. Why? Because of timing. Now, I put in the effort. You got to put in the effort. By the way, I see that Alex Morton is here, for example, right? That guy put in the effort. That guy made millions in the industry. Guess what? That dude worked his butt off. And he also did it in the right time, just like I did. In the right time, the right company. I put in the effort, and guess what? I started making a lot of money, right? I built a very big team, international, which is, by the way, keyword, international, because I'm going to give, later on in this video, I'm going to tell you what the keys to creating the next boom in the industry are. There are fundamental keys. You can mark my words. There are fundamental keys that will create the next boom in this industry, and the industry is primed for it. There hasn't been a boom since IML. There hasn't been a boom, but the boom is coming. And I'm going to tell you what are the keys, and the companies that put these keys together are going to be the ones with the best shot to create the next boom in the industry, like the booms I'm telling you about. But check this out. Going back to OG, Jay Nolan and Houghton, Bernie Chu and those guys, they have mainly B players. They didn't have A players. The A players didn't go. The A players looked at OrganoGold like, oh, yeah, let's see what they do. Everybody was still in the juices. The A players were in the juice companies. The A players thought Monavie was doing great, but Monavie was about to come to an end because it was exciting. But that excitement, if they had the foresight to see, for example, what's going to happen with the coffee boom, and if they aggressively went into the coffee boom, they were already a beverage company. I think they would have done better. But juice was expensive. It's expensive to ship, right? So the coffee boom came out, and these guys with B players absolutely crushed it. And let me give you a tip about B players. I love recruiting B players even more than A players. I'll tell you why. I'm going to coach you here, man. I've done hundreds of millions of dollars in sales in my career. When you include my solar sales, I've done over $1 billion in sales in my career with our solar sales. Tens of thousands of installs. Okay, check this out. B players are better than A players in most cases. And I'll tell you why. B players, shout out Amway. B players don't have the ego, and they're not prima donnas nearly as frequently. Matter of fact, hardly ever, versus A players. You'll get an A player, oh, I made 100 grand before a month. My team's been 100,000 people, blah, 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 blah. Not all of them, but a lot of them are prima donnas. And they're not even willing to work. In most cases, they're not willing to work as hard as they did when they went from a B player to an A player. So the effort, the humility that they had when they went from a B player to an A player, most of the time, they don't have it anymore. It's rare to find them. Then they want to ask for stuff. Give me this, give me that, give me this. I don't want to go under anybody. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. Nonsense stuff like that. B players very often are just as good as A players. Very often they have the same experience as A players. B players, sometimes the only difference very often with B players versus A players is that A players are A players because they were at the right place at the right time with the right company. B players, just as good, but they got started in maybe the right company, but at the wrong time. Maybe the wrong positioning, different factors. Sometimes you'll find B players that are better overall than the A players, but they make 10% what the A player makes. Why? Simple. Timing. A couple of different factors. So OrganoGold took a bunch of B players. They were at the right place at the right time with strong leadership, strong systems. Here's another key. They pitched the same 4 steps, right? They pitched the same system. They were beating the drum at the same time. So you had a good combination of leadership that knew what the field needed, that acted as if from the beginning, and they blew up and they went on one of the most historic runs in the industry. At that point, we're talking about 2010 through 2014, right? 2009 through 2013, approximately. Everybody knew who OrganoGold was. I remember I was with a company called Serenergy. I rolled the coffee boom, made a lot of money. Not with OrganoGold, but with Serenergy. I became the #1 earner in that company and eventually the master distributor of that company. My team was doing about $900,000 in sales until the company has some hiccups. I won't get into that today, but we were crushing it, right? And we were on our way to make $10 million in sales monthly. We were doing 900,000 until a bunch of unfortunate things happened that led to the company falling. But nevertheless, made a lot of money there. I remember doing hotel meetings with 50, 60 people, and OrganoGold was in that same hotel. Matter of fact, the DoubleTree in Norwalk, California. I had 50 or 60 people. They had 400 to 500 people. Same hotel, same night. As a matter of fact, I remember sometimes some of their people will go into my meeting and stuff, and then their leaders would come, hey, no, our meeting's over here, right? And interesting times, right? And then anyways, I'm not going to get into those stories, but it was funny, but you know, it was all in good fun. Eventually, I got my meetings up to 200-300 people. I never got it to 500 people, but we have meetings there with 200-300 people. We had to knock out the walls. I remember we had one ballroom. So many people got there. Jay Nolan, the founder of that company, was there, and I go to Jay. I said, Jay, people don't fit. He says, tell them to rent you luckily, there was ballrooms next to it, and if you know the hotel rooms, they have the walls, that the walls separate. You could take the walls out, right? So he says, tell them to rent you the other one. I doubt they're going to rent it today. You got to book this in advance. Go and talk to them, make it happen. So I go, they're like, no. Then we keep talking. Long story short, they knock out a wall. They charge. I'm like, you're not using it anyways. Let me use it. I got more people than expected. Let me use it. So guess what? Boom. People keep showing up. I had to go talk to them again, knock out another wall, and they did. We had one ballroom. We went into the next ballroom. We went into the next ballroom. We had nearly 300 people that night. It was bananas. Organogold had about 500. I had about 280 people. We had to knock out 2 walls. By the way, a lot of this is documented on Facebook and on YouTube. It was bananas, man. We knocked it out the park. Now, I do take credit. Yes, I worked hard. Yes, I have skills. But if it wasn't for the timing, I wouldn't have done as good as I did. It's bottom line. The bottom line. So coffee was the next boom for the reasons I mentioned. What is the next boom? And the next boom is the last boom that has happened in the industry. Here's the next boom. The trading boom. I capitalized on some of it, but not like some of these other people did. In 2013, I'm one of the godfathers of the trading boom. I joined Wealth Generators, now known as iGenius. You know, those guys are doing great. Got a lot of respect for Anthony Napolitano. The guys are class act. So I got started, built a very big team there. I started doing some traditional businesses while I built my residual up with that company. But the company that really took it to the next level was IML. IML had a couple of leaders that came together. You all know who they are. I'm not going to mention their names, but I'll mention their initials. AM was the guy that kicked it off, right? And then IT came in. Then DI came in. Those 3 guys came from Janess and OG. And when they got there and they said, wait a minute, you guys are offering a service where people can make money without recruiting or selling. At one point, I think IML had 250,000 active monthly paying customers. That was the next boom in the industry, rightfully so. I coined the term. I taught people, these trainings are still up from 2013 when I was selling, right, trading services. I was saying, this is the only company in the history of network marketing where you could make money. A customer can make money without recruiting, without selling. Why? Because if the trading services work and you got the right experts and the right tools, you certainly can. And that's the truth. That is 100% the truth. Now, you could argue and complain about some of the mistakes that IML make. Every company makes mistakes. But yes, indeed, they made some mistakes. But there's other trading companies that have been around more than 10 years that are still around, and they got cash cows of a business. But the next boom was trading for the reasons that I mentioned. Now, I got to be honest with you. I am very surprised that those companies did what they did with the comp plan that they have. Because the comp plan that they had, if you notice, remember Wealth Generators back in the days in IML, they had a trinary, a 3-leg structure. By the way, I'm opening up my computer. Give me a minute. They had a trinary, no check match bonuses, no coded bonuses, a trinary, easy to get to $600 a month. But why? Think about it. That comp plan would not fly today. Just like the juice companies would not fly today. A lot of these companies, I'll mention companies that are not around anymore, right? In my humble opinion, companies like, for example, the weight loss company. What was that weight loss company that went away? It'll come to me. Travel companies, right? Like the company that was around for like 20-something years. World Ventures, right? They had a great run as well, right? I think if that was recreated today, do I believe it would do as good as it did? No, I think it'd do good, not as good as it did. Why? Because trends come and go. So the question is, what is the next trend? Well, I'm going to mention some of the keys of not only the trends, but some of the keys that the next companies need to have in order to create, to have a chance to create the next boom. Okay. Now, to finish off my thoughts on IML, those people made so much money. There was a lot of mistakes that were made in the way that they marketed the services. They let too much stuff slide. They tried to fix it too late. I personally saw from a mile away, these are some big mistakes that are happening. But there were other companies that were running simultaneously offering same services that are still around right now. So that proves over 10 years. That proves that could be done legally the right way. Just like there's healthy product companies, and then there's healthy product companies that went away because for example, if you're in a healthy company products, you can't talk about curing stuff. You're going to get in trouble, man. And the bigger you get, the more people that are telling the message the wrong way, you're going to get busted. Same thing with, trading companies. Same thing with anything, right? Income claims, right? That's a big deal. So with that being said, IML had a tremendous run. So what were the booms in the industry? To recap, Excel Communication in the 90s, the juice companies, early 2000s. The next one was a coffee boom. And then the last one was a trading boom. Since IML, there hasn't been another boom. There has not been another boom since IML. By the way, pay attention. Those booms happen between 4 and 9 years. They're 4 to 9 years away. 4 to 9 years away, a boom comes. 4 to 9 years, a boom comes. 4 to 9 years, a boom comes. So the question is, who's going to create the next boom? I don't know. I know who's going to create the next boom, but I'm not going to put it that way. I'm going to tell you what the ingredients are for the next boom. Here are the ingredients. Some of these are fundamentals. They're always needed no matter what. Number one is, of course, great leadership. Companies have to have great leadership, both from the field and from the ownership. And you will see new owners, new leaders. Leaders that you saw a year, 2 years, 3 years ago being the top dogs in the industry. Some of those will still be there. Some of those are not going to be there anymore. There's always new leaders that emerge, and not only from the field, but from corporate. There will be new owners as well. Popular owners that everybody hears about because their companies are booming, right? So leadership is always needed. The next key to the next boom in the industry, and I'm going to tell you why this is it. The next key, ladies and gentlemen, because in 2025, 2026, the world is small. What does that mean? We all have contacts all over the world, all across the world. Everybody has contacts across the world, especially network marketers. So point number 2, you got to be international. What do I mean by international? 40 plus countries. I'm in the US and Canada. That's not international, man. I'm not saying that those companies won't do good. That's not what I'm saying. But good is the enemy of great. The boom companies are the ones that do great. That the whole world, the whole industry takes notice. If you're only in the US, countries in Europe never heard about you. Countries in South America never heard about you. In 2026, you must be international if you want a chance of creating the next boom. Because guess what? I live in America. Most people watching this live are in America. Ladies and gentlemen, network marketing is way bigger outside of America than it is in America. And I'm going to give you a couple points why. Man, I'm giving you guys $1 million worth of game here, man. I'm telling you, you should come back and watch this video again and learn some of this stuff. Because when you have conversations with high-level people, you should know some of these things. Okay? Listen to what I'm going to tell you, man. Okay? When it comes to this industry, why is America so slow why is America so slow in volume compared to other countries? Why is network marketing so much bigger outside of America? I'll tell you why that is. The reason why that is a couple of reasons. Number one is America has a lot of regulations, but Americans, frankly, look, I'm going to just put it to you like this. Americans are lazy. Americans are coddled. Life is easy in America. There is such a thing as an immigrant mentality. I'm an immigrant. I know about the immigrant mentality. I know that the immigrant mentality, it has a lot more grit than the American coddled mentality. We live in a world of Instacart and Netflix. Back in the days, you want to rent a movie and chill, you got to go out and rent the movie. You want some fast food, you got to drive out and go get it. Now, people look at their microwave like, man, this dog, I don't even use a microwave, right? But people like, microwave, man, 30 seconds, man, my goodness. They can't wait. I don't feel like cooking anything. Let me click a couple buttons. Oh, here's my food. Why'd you take so long? Took you 15 minutes to bring my food. We live in a world of convenience. And even though that may sound cool, it's not cool. That's why people are more coddled and more mentally weak than ever before. Not only that, people are fighting to get into this country. People aren't fighting to get into, those other countries. So my point is this. You gotta be international because network marketing is way bigger outside of America. And this ain't 2000. See, in 2001, I started in the industry. I didn't know anybody outside of family in Mexico. I didn't know anybody anywhere. Now I know thousands of people around the world. And so does my downline. To me, if I was a leader in the industry, here's what I would say. Let me see the leadership because everything rises and falls on leadership. Leadership is on point. Sounds good. Services sound great. I need to learn more about them in the comp plan. But before we even get into that, there's no need to get into the comp plan. There's no need to get into the services. Are you international? Because guess what? The biggest companies with the biggest volume, numbers don't lie. I'm a human. Humans lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Look at the numbers in the industry. Companies that are based outside of America smoke companies in America. American-based companies do way more volume outside of America. Those that are outside of America. It's way more volume. So you got to be international. Bottom line, what do I mean by international? 40 plus countries. If not, you're leaving money on the table. Now, here's the deal. We can start making some money right now and be cool, but eventually we're going to get the bug. Eventually we're going to realize, wow, look at how much money is available in Europe, in Asia, in South America, all over the world. There's so much money. I'm leaving money on the table. You got to be international. You want to create the next boom? You got to be international. That means 50 plus countries. The next one goes hand in hand with number 2. This one might get some people angry. It's not meant to get people angry. I'm giving you my humble opinion. So here it goes. Number 3, service-based companies are going to create the next boom. Not product-based companies. Service-based companies. Service-based companies is how you go international. If I have I love products. If I have a product, vitamins, coffee, whatever. And by the way, if they offer the products in a couple of countries and services in other countries, I think that's smart. But product alone companies can't, because the products that are legal here, the ingredients that are acceptable in the US may not be acceptable in Canada. They may not be acceptable in South America, or in parts of South America and other parts not. Plus it's very expensive, not only to manufacture the products, but you got to get warehouses everywhere. Digital services. Right? Just like you don't go and rent a DVD anymore. You just stream it. It's on your computer, right? That's where the world is. If number 2 is being international, well, you can't go international with products. You just can't. You can't go into 50 countries unless you're Amway or Herbalife. You're not going to do it. You're just not going to do it. Bottom line, right? So it's got to be service-based. And of course, the services have to have merit. It's not just enough just to be service-based. The service has to have merit. The next one is, number 4 is great services or products that actually work, right? For example, what are the number 2 services that you want to go to 50, 70 plus countries? There's 2 services you can really go with. Trading and travel. And then AI. This is a bonus one. Companies that implement AI in 2026 are going to be the ones that have a way higher chance of creating the next boom. AI for training people, AI for prospecting, AI for following up, AI education, something along those lines. But as of right now, the recording of this video, the services that take you international, right now, 50 plus countries, trading, travel. Okay. And if I have to pick between those 2, I'm going to pick trading all day long. Because, for example, we have people making real money with our trading services without recruiting or so. And if they're making money without recruiting or selling, it makes it easier to recruit and sell. They don't have commission breath. I know that what I got is good. So I created a 120,000 person organization in the trading space. And I'm about to build a $1 million organization right now with Build. That's the name of our company. BYLD, Build. Build your last downline. I call this the Final Run Club. We're building the Final Run Club, right? We're showing people how to build their last downline ever. And here's the thing. Here's another bonus one. A lot of companies, unfortunately, have owners that are not connected to the field anymore because they haven't been on the field in 20 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years. They're not connected to what the field wants. And then not only that, if you got big investors, right? Your job is to make money for the investors. So it's not always what's best for the field, but it's what's best for the shareholders, right? That's another big problem. That's a bonus one that I didn't think about earlier. I'm giving it to you now. I'm giving you some real game right now. I'm telling you, I'm giving you $1 million worth of game, guys. The next one is this. Of course, a great compensation. And notice that compensation is further down the list. Very important. But without the other two factors, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. You could create a company that pays 100% commissions. Somehow they figure out how to pay 100% of what comes in out. But if they're not international, they don't got the right leadership, it's still not going to be, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay? Compensation plan. So not only a compensation plan that pays well, that's not the only thing I'm referring to. A compensation plan that drives the right behavior of sales and growth, sales and recruiting. Notice that I put sales first. Sales is the first emphasis. Sales of your services, sales of your products. You got to have a great compensation plan that people are happy. They know. Company, number one, doesn't have a lot of locks in the comp plan. There isn't a bunch of gotchas. Like, oh, I got to promote in order. It's not just a volume. I got to promote somebody to this rank and this other guy on this other leg to this rank. I got to get 2 people on this. I don't like that personally. I think that's just an insult to my intelligence. When I've been a part of companies like that, like, bro, tell me you don't want to pay me without telling me you don't want to pay me. The more locks in the compensation plan, the more you're telling me that you don't want to pay me. And most of the time when people look at it, they don't know what the locks are. And that's understandable, but sometimes they're just really bad. There's too many. So compensation plan that pays well, but creates the right behavior. And you could create a comp plan that creates a behavior to get more sales and more recruiting and more momentum just because comp plan drives behavior. Write that down. Comp plan drives behavior. Very important. I consider myself to be, it's not going to sound very humble, but it's okay. I don't mean it in a cocky way, but I consider myself to be the foremost compensation plan expert in the world in network marketing. Now, I know some people are rolling their eyes, and frankly, I don't care. With all due respect, I don't care because this is what I believe. I've studied comp plans. Companies have hired me to design comp plans, and I am surprised sometimes. And I've even asked company owners, are you doing this because you need to keep more money? Is this like needed? Do you actually need this? Does a company actually need this, or can you afford to pay more? And you'll be surprised by some of the answers I get. Sometimes they're like, no, we don't really need it, but we just don't want to pay that much. I'm like, because people that know this is very blatant. And you can fix it by doing this and by doing that and by doing this and by doing that. Anyways, comp plan. Great comp plan that creates a right behavior because compensation plan drives behavior. The next one. Companies that adjust with the times and adjust to the proper trends with the times. There's too many companies, in my humble opinion, right now that are very stuck on old ways of doing network marketing and they're not going to pivot. Not only that, the company owners and the top earners of that company, they're already making a ton of money. Doesn't really matter to them. They're disconnected from the field. And this goes to show, I mean, look at BlackBerry. How many of you guys had a BlackBerry? Type in the chat, type in BlackBerry or type in me if you had a BlackBerry back in the days. Go to Amazon Prime, watch the movie on the BlackBerry. It's a great movie on Amazon Prime on BlackBerry. I like to study movies like that, like The Founder, right? The Uber Story is a great one. It's a series on Amazon Prime as well. The BlackBerry didn't adjust. The BlackBerry said, no, people like the keyboard feeling, a real keyboard on your phone. And Apple came out and said, no, that's not true. People just want a screen. And the pad is on the screen. And BlackBerry didn't adjust and BlackBerry went out of business. Study the BlackBerry story. I'm telling you right now, dude, because I'm a guy that's connected on the field till this day. In my last company, I was the #1 recruiter, the #1 mentor, and the top 5 earner in that entire company. And the only reason why people above me made more money than me is because they override me. They were overriding me. And one guy was got the whole company put under him. If not, I would have been the #1 earner in their company. Okay? In solar. So here's the deal. I know about these things. I'm recent in the field. I'm in the field right now. As a company owner, I'm in the field right now. I know what it takes to move the needle. We will get to 1 million customers and members. Guaranteed. That day already exists. We just got to get there. I'm not worried about that. That day is done. The creator already has a date in place. We just got to get there. It's a wrap. It's done. I'm not, that is, you give me a lie detector test, I will pass it. 1 million customers and members on the books by 2030 is what we will have at Build. Done. It's a wrap. Because I know what these things are. And as I grow in the industry, I look at people that I used to look at a certain way. And I realize they're not as smart as I thought they were. These mistakes are so blatant. How do they not see this? From the compensation plan to their relationships with their vendors to different things like that. And I think to myself, how do they not see this? How was that decision made? How did that, do they not have their consultants that consult for them and teach them? Like, hey, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, right? Things like that. So anyways, let's keep going. So you got to adjust with the times. That's number 7. Number 6. The next one, number 7 is more than one vertical. And I'm not talking about a ton of verticals. I'm talking about 2 or 3 verticals. I'm not saying you got to have a ton of verticals. I think when we look at ViSalus, back in the days, remember ViSalus? Great company at the time. And World Ventures. I think if those 2 companies were recreated today, they wouldn't do 20% of what they did back then. I think just being this is my opinion. It's just my opinion, okay? Just being a weight loss company, I don't think it's a deal in 2026. Just being a travel company, I don't think it's a deal in 2026. Because here's what happens. People are going to go venture out and to do other things anyways, right? If you've got a couple different verticals that people can sell, not everybody's interested in weight loss, but they may be interested in this. For example, I gave the story of Monavie, right? Not everybody was interested in the juice, but guess what? There was a whole bunch of people interested in coffee, right? I think more than one vertical, 2, 3, 4 maximum, but 2 or 3 solid verticals is doable, is manageable, and you will cast a bigger net and you will retain for a longer period of time. And I could elaborate on that a lot more, but there's no time to do that. I'm not trying to be on here that long. I actually have a 1 p.m. appointment that I moved to 1:15. So, but that's a big one. That's key number 7. The last key, number 8 is, and I gave you some bonus keys, by the way. Key number 8 is you got to pay your people on time, every time. Don't mess with people's commissions, man. We've been around. Here's the thing about my company, Build. And I've got 2 partners, right? Mr. Navarro, Mr. Pacheco. We've been around operating since late 2023. Pre-launch February 17th, 2024. We've been paying commissions since February 17th, 2024. Actually, before that, but officially through a back office since February 27th. Here's the deal. We've never once missed a commission payment. Ever. Ever once. Another key is a company, a bonus key that's 2 years old. Now, here's the deal. I'm telling you, man, we're not officially 2 years old. We will be officially 2 years old February. So in 2 months, about 2 months from now, my company will officially be 2 years old. I'm just giving you the sauce because most companies are going to fail their first year. Then you give them a bonus year. So 2 years is that key number, right? I'm not concerned about that. We're rocking. We doubled our subscriber base, nearly doubled our subscriber base in the last 60 days, right? But we have the stability of being a 2-year-old company, nearly 2-year-old company, right? Frankly, we are a 2-year-old company, but if I come from the pre-launch, no. But remember, late November 2023 is when we started doing business, okay? So 2-year-old company with the excitement of a new company because of our trading and travel services that were introduced like 3 months ago. That are, by the way, crushing it that I'm not going to get into today, right? So trading and travel are the 2 best ones. If you have the right ones to go international immediately. You got customers around the world. You can get customers all over the world immediately. We've already got people all over the world. We've got the stability of being a 2-year-old company, paying people on time, every time. And we have a philosophy. Here's our goal. And I'm reading my notes here. To pay the most amount of money to the most people in the shortest period of time, every time, on time. So the goal is to pay the most amount of money to the most people in the shortest period of time, on time, and every time. You gotta pay your people. Too many companies throughout the history mess with people's commissions. I heard of a guy recently that joined the company he was with back then. Apparently he owed them some money, thousands of dollars from many years ago. He came back, built a huge organization, and they said, sounds good. You chipped away at the money that you owe us. Huge company. That to me is ludicrous. That is crazy. At the very least, he should have seen in his back office, like, hey, here's your balance. If you're going to do that, tell the person before they start producing that they owe you some money, right? Pay your people on time. So anyways, hope you guys got some value from this video. Feel free to share it. If you're watching the recording, please make sure you comment replay, maybe hashtag replay or something like that. Share it with your people. If you got some value from this, share it with people. Watch it again. I'm giving you, look, there's companies that have the ingredients, or maybe they don't have them all, but they can put some of the ingredients together to create the next boom. But make no mistake about it. Somebody's going to create the next boom in the industry. The industry is due. Every 4 to 8 years, the boom comes. Since the 90s, the next boom is going to come. I'm going to create the next boom. I'm doing everything in my power. My partners and I and our company, we're doing everything in our power to create the next boom. And we have all the things in place in addition to some bonus things. But that doesn't mean that we could be the only one. There could be, multiple companies that create the next boom. But nobody's doing it yet. And the boom is coming. So anyways, hope you guys got value from this video. I got a call to get on, a Zoom to get on here shortly. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy holidays, and let's build.